Hi everyone, it's Heather from True North Spirit Medicine here. How you going? Happy New Year! It's 2023. That's nice. I think everyone's sighing a big sigh of relief that 2022 has passed, so that's nice. So today I'm going to do the reading for the energy of January 2023. So it's the beginning of the year where you have to really think about what year it is. So that's kind of fun. Okay, so interestingly, this morning when I was setting up to film this video for you, I couldn't decide which deck of cards to use. Normally one kind of jumps out at me or stands out at me a bit more than the others. But this time I literally had 3 decks and I was like, I don't know which one to use. Anyway, they said all 3. So I've done something that I haven't done before, and as I was like, oh, that's a bit weird using one card from each deck, and they said something along the lines of like it's a good time for new things, like the fact that this is new, a way for me to read one card from each deck. Yeah, it was like new beginnings, new year, new things. Anyway, so I've done that, and because I thought it might be a bit awkward to juggle 3 decks on camera, I drew the cards, less than a minute ago. Yeah, so I'll show you the 3 decks that I'm using, and then I'll show you the cards as we go through. I'll probably do the direct channel bit first, like we've been doing recently. And I've actually got 4 cards. So I've got 2 cards from this first deck, and then 1 from the other 2, and I'll explain that as we go along. So the first deck is Angels and Ancestors Oracle Cards by Kyle Gray, artwork by Lily Moses. And the second deck is Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light Oracle Cards, artwork by Danielle Knoll. And the third deck is a new one. I bought myself a Christmas present. And it's Colette Baron-Reid's The Spirit Animal Oracle, illustrations by Jenna Della Grataglio. I always feel like I'm pronouncing her surname incorrectly. Yeah, so that's my Christmas present to myself. That's nice. Okay, so yeah, we'll do the channel first. I'm using my phone camera because I realised that the sound card on my Handycam is deteriorating, so the sound quality's been a bit average, shall we say. So apologies for that. So until I manage to do enough research and figure out which Handycam kind of camera, camcorder is the best to buy, I'm going to use my phone camera. And I've got the reverse camera on so I can see what's happening, which I'm pretty sure it'll show the writing up on the cards the right way around. If not, I figured out the way to insert the cards into the video, so I might do that anyway. Bit of fancy editing for you. Okay. So I'm going to tune in and see what they've got to say. It's very hot here today. I'm in southeast Queensland and it's summer, and it's predicted to be 35 degrees Celsius today, which in Fahrenheit, the rule of thumb that I learned when I was traveling through the States was from Celsius to Fahrenheit is double it and add 30. So 35, 70, 100. So it's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, about 35 Celsius. Hot. It's hot and humid. So I've closed all the windows to keep the noise out. So you might see overheating. I'll try not to do that. Okay, so I'm going to do the channel, and then we're going to see what they have to say. I'm quite excited, I must say, and that's always nice. Oh, as soon as I sort of tune in a bit deeper, I've got this lovely feeling of like fireworks. That's nice. Greetings, dear ones, and thank you again for joining us here. It is indeed time for celebration, my friends. That feeling of exuberance that Heather feels with the fireworks and the sparks of light that you see at your turn of the year, the wheel of the year celebrations. It is indeed quite apt for this year in particular. For this year, there are grand planetary cycles which are shifting and changing in a major way. And all of this to say that the influence of the planets is once again behind you in a powerful and profound way. These big changes of signs and these big changes of directions of the planets herald a time of great awakening, of new beginnings, of grand celebrations. And it is because of you, my dear ones, my dear friends, that this is indeed happening. For it is like when you add salt or spices or flavor to a soup or a stew that has been boiling and bubbling on the pot, on the stove for a long time. And it is that extra spice or herb or seasonings or flavorings that bring the whole thing to life, that lift and elevate the flavors that have lain within this beautiful soup or stew that has been boiling on the stove for many eons. And it is this, ooh, that lovely salt, or ooh, that lovely herb that is often commented on by those who sup at your table. So think of yourselves like this, dear ones, if you wish. For you are the condiments, you are the salt and the seasoning and the flavour and the herbs to this beautiful soup or stew of the planets that have been boiling and bubbling and aligning for many, 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 many eons before humanity, awakened humanity, came to Earth. And you are the the glitter, the sprinkle, the sparkle on top that brings everything to life and pulls everything together. And even though your awareness, your awakening might come towards the end of the dish, so to speak, towards the end of these great planetary alignments and into the next grand cycles, they are indeed integral. So do not think that you are just a bit of salt. For where would we be in our cultures without salt, my friends? Where would we be? To say nothing of the preserving nature of salt through the eons that have enabled humans to eat when there was little to harvest. But also think of how much it improves our daily lives, the essence of salt. It's like the divine spark within humanity. It is important even though it seems small, small and white, a bit like some salts. But again, it is integral to everything. Try and eat some eggs or some popcorn with salt and you will know what we mean. It is like that saying, if you think that the small things are insignificant, then try spending a night with a mosquito buzzing in your room. It is funny that we speak of small things like salt and mosquitoes, when what we are indeed entering this year in particular is a very grand cycle. It is a 7-year, as Heather has pointed out to some of you already. And 7 is the number of spirit, spirituality, wisdom, inner seeking, inner searching, inner guidance. So if you have not already, my friends, it is a great time to begin and or continue your daily meditations. For these are key, as we show a key and a lock to Heather, the beautiful golden door opening to a grand and powerful and beautiful vista. Your ability to tune into us, or those like us of the higher dimensions, the finer frequencies, the radio dials that you must work to tune to, consciously tune to, We have much to say and we have much to give you individually. And this year is very much about the personal, the inner personal spiritual journey, and the outer grander cycle of the outer worlds that you live in, and how they are so closely aligned and becoming more closely aligned as more and more people awaken to higher consciousness of love and compassion and integrity and wisdom that is guided from within. And as the more people awaken to this grand knowingness of love that underpins everything, it is like a beautiful shiny grid or network that encircles your planet, that people, so to speak, plug into. And each extra one that plugs into this becomes aware of their own divine DNA, shall we say, that spark of light within them, that grain of beautiful white shiny salt within each of you. As each one of those people awaken and plug into this socket, this network, this matrix of light that surrounds your planet, that is an integral part of the electromagnetic system of your planet, then it awakens and enlivens and brightens it for everybody. It is like those dimmer switches on lights. And maybe there's one, then there's two, then there's three, and by the time, 2024 comes around, we will be so bright, so bright. So for you, my dear friends, this year, this month, but this year in particular, we invite you to tune in, to plug in, to tap in to your own divine wisdom, your own inner guidance, your own divine compass, as often as you can. Daily meditation is what we speak of. And then you too can feel even more closely this divine table, so to speak, that you sit at with those like us, your council of elders, who Heather has so gracefully and gratefully and bravely brought forth to more and more of you. And for that we thank her. And for sitting with us again, we thank you. For we would not be here without you. You are the salt on our omelette, so to speak. We love you dearly. Enjoy the energy of 2023, for you have much support, more so than in many years past. Tap into it. It's yours. We love you very much, and we will speak to you again very soon. And so it is. They're so funny. Salt. That's really funny. Salt and eggs and popcorn. And it feels really nice and uplifting and bright and powerful. I kept seeing images of like sprinkling salt on eggs or popcorn or something. It's quite funny. I don't think I've ever, in all my years of doing readings, I don't think I've ever heard them use the metaphor or analogy. Or I must look that definition up and get it clear in my head anyway. The example of salt, comparing that to your spirituality or whatever. Oh, it's really funny. Okay, that was nice. That felt really nice. Thank you. Okay, cards. Okay, I was just re-looking at the order and wondering if it needed to change, but I don't think so. Okay, so the first two cards, that's four, come from the Angels and Ancestors Oracle card deck by Kyle Gray. And the first one is Knight, and it says, be brave and honest. And I pulled it out and I was like, kind of get it, but then I was like, and I felt like it needed something else. So I drew the second card, which goes with it perfectly. And it says, Heart Guardian, love and let yourself be loved. And there was two things that I noticed first, and I'm going to read these two cards together. I'll show you in a sec. The first two things that I noticed was the red. So in the Knight card, so it's got a man with a cowl and a cape and I think he's wearing like chainmail, standing in front of like a Celtic kind of looking doorway with a sword and his eyes closed and his head slightly bowed. And behind him is a rose bush with some beautiful red roses. Knight, be brave and honest. And then the second card in this deck is a beautiful woman, and she too has a cowl, I'm noticing now, with a shawl over her head and wings, and she's got her eyes closed as well in sort of peaceful supplication is what I want to say, and a beautiful heart medallion at her chest. Heart guardian, love and let yourself be loved. So yeah, I noticed the red in both cards, and also that the it's male and female quite clearly. Can you see them? Yeah. Okay, and so just asking them which message they want to go with. So the be brave and honest part of this is about really connected to the third card, which is about awakening. Be brave and honest is all about, you know how we've been talking about increasing love and integrity and transparency and all of that kind of stuff. We've been talking about that for quite a long time now. And integrity, of course, really meaning that your words match your actions. You can't say one thing and do another anymore. It doesn't work. Your business will fall apart. Your relationships will fall apart. Like you've got to be, you got to walk your talk, basically. And so this card, the first card, Knight, be brave and honest, is in part to do with that. So integrity, honesty, bravery, in the outer worlds in particular. So in your relationships with others, in your business dealings, whether you have a job and you work with others, or you work for yourself and you employ others, or you have clients, or whatever it is, like the business dealings that you do, or even as a customer, when you go to the shops, or you shop online or whatever, gangster retail. Sorry. that you carry out those business dealings with as much, they're saying, with as much honesty and as much heart as you can. Yeah, and they're showing me the number 7. So just keeping that in mind, and the strength and the peacefulness that comes with the 7 as well. So that inner strength that comes when you have a really solid understanding and lived experience of your own spirituality. And I'm seeing that kind of plugged in, metaphor or whatever. So when you're plugged into source energy, it's like the lighthouse in a storm. Do you know what I mean? Like nothing much can buffet you, knock you about too much, because you've got this really strong core of you're supported. That, what's that meme that you see going around Facebook, and it's like, when they ask you and whose army, and it's a beautiful picture of angels upon like a legion of angels, or divine helpers or whatever, sort of behind you. And once you have a real understanding of that, how much they have your back, right? It's pretty hard to get knocked off your center. So yeah, the more you stay in your heart and stay with your integrity, the better it is, the more expansive. And they're showing me that door that they talked about at the end of the channel, the key and the lock, and this door opening up to this beautiful, beautiful view, beautiful vista, like a valley and some mountains and green grass and trees and soft sky. Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, so integrity in all that you do in the outer worlds and the inner worlds, obviously. But I also feel like, so just moving on to the second card, Heart Guardian, love and let yourself be loved. I also feel like this card is tapping into the energy of one of the cards from last month, which they were reminding me of the penguins sort of nuzzling into each other. And I'm pretty sure it said soulmates. And they're reminding me now in that reading from last month, or maybe it was the mid-month messages, I can't remember, but the one with the penguins, that they were saying that card represented romantic relationships, but also business and friendships coming in. So I remember them saying mates of the soul. But these cards together, very particularly for this month, they're saying, is particularly about romantic relationships. So whether that's, men and women or whatever combination of genders and identities and stuff, you're all grown-ups here. You can interpret this in your own way that feels best for you. Okay, so these two cards together representing romantic relationships. So I'm just tuning in and asking them what they want to say. The extra thing they want to say. They're pointing out the red, the colour, the red rose in his card, and the red shawl or whatever it is, cowl, shawl, I think, in her card. Yeah, they're pointing out their hands, so how his hands are sort of together at the front, holding the sword, and her hands are sort of at her front with the hands near her heart. So they're pointing out similarities and how these two cards are connected. And I'm getting this really big kind of lovely swooping in feeling of this love, romantic love energy, which is quite nice. So I'm just asking them what else they want to say about that. They're saying not much, just be open to that. It can also, again, include, business relationships or new friendships or whatever, but there is a very strong romantic love energy that's coming in, welcome it in for yourself if you want. And again, this can mean new relationships for those of you who are desirous of that. And likewise, it can also mean not a reignition, I want to say a reopening of your hearts, if you're in partnership already, that there's an opportunity for deeper love within established relationships as well, which is nice. Yeah, be brave. Be brave and be open. It's about that kind of vulnerability as well, and seeing vulnerability as a strength, not a weakness. In our Western culture, we're often taught that vulnerability is weak, and people will jump on you or stomp on you or attack you or whatever, or stick their sword in the space in, the gaps in your armour. But if you're with people that have high integrity and high compassion and high consciousness, then that's not going to happen really. Well, if it does, there's an awareness of emotional maturity and emotional responsibility, where that, if a trigger is pushed and a button is pushed and someone's triggered, then afterwards it's an opportunity for repair, not a reason for more separation. Yeah. I've got that song, Every Rose Has Its Thorn. I'm not going to sing it, but you know the song. But the focus is on the rose and the beautiful scent and the petals. And you forgive the thorns because of the beauty. That's nice. Just a bit of a reality check there. That's quite funny. Oh, it's getting hot. Okay. I think that's it for the first two cards. That's nice. So welcome it in. Yeah, the second card says love and let yourself be loved. So there's a real invitation for that this month, in particular, they're saying. Okay. 35 degrees in a room with no windows open. I'm feeling it, people. Okay. And I find it interesting, like when I do readings, I don't and this is common for everybody, you don't really remember what it is that you've said afterwards. Like, I won't remember what they've said. I don't really remember what they said at that beginning channel. And even when I watch it back to try and write the description for the YouTube thing, I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot they said that. It's a bit strange. But then if I do a reading for another person, again, a bit later, or like with the penguin card, when I'm in the channel, they'll remind me of things. So I'm like, oh, that's right, there was a soulmate card and it had penguins on it. Whereas if you'd asked me, you know, half an hour ago before I started the video, what were the cards from last week, or, I mean, you know, last fortnight or last month, I'd be like, I don't know. So I find that really interesting. Or, you know, yeah, like if I do a reading for a one-on-one reading for someone and I might have read for them 6 months earlier or 12 months earlier or even 2 years earlier, I won't remember what we've said, but then when I'm in it, I'll be like, oh, I kind of remember, they're reminding me of something they said 6 months ago or 2 years ago or something. Yeah, it's really interesting. Okay, so the next card, I'm still sweating. Oh, sorry. This is from the Work Your Light Oracle cards by Rebecca Campbell and Danielle Knoll, and this is Awakening. And as soon as I drew this, I was like, oh yeah, of course. And it says energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. And it's got a photo or a picture, an image of a lady sort of floating up. Beautiful pinks and purples and greens and a crescent moon and some stars and clouds and stuff in the background. Awakening. Yeah, this is all about this year. I know we asked for the to do a reading for the energy of the month for January 2023, but it's also for this year. They're like, yes. Awake. And of course, awakening being just it's a big step. An awareness of there being more than 3D/4D, because the fourth dimension is time. So really, that's at its essence, that's what awakening is. It's an awareness that there's more to know than maybe what you're taught at school, or that you can perceive with your 5 senses. It's an awareness of the 6th sense. It's an awareness of frequencies and vibrations beyond what you can hear with your outer ears and what you can see with your eyeballs. That's pretty much all it is. But of course, that step from being unaware to aware is quite big. You know, I remember someone years ago using this analogy or whatever and I really like it, and they're showing me this image now. So, you know, if you've ever been to a place or you've seen it in a movie or you can just imagine it, say you're in a beautiful natural waterfall place, and behind the waterfall there's a like a cave of some description or a space. It doesn't have to be a big cave, but a space. So if you're, you know, it's a nice warm sunny day and you can go for a swim, and you might, you know, swim up to the waterfall and be in the waterfall. And then there's this bit where you can go beyond the water and go behind the waterfall. And then there's this space behind, whether it's a big cave or a small opening or whatever. And you're sort of behind the waterfall and you can see out, and there's a peace in there as well, because the middle of a waterfall is generally quite noisy. Yeah, and it's quite lovely and beautiful, and always feels a bit special when you discover those behind the waterfall places, because they're not that common, I guess. But yeah, years and years ago, someone used that description to explain the difference between essentially being unaware and aware, or unawake and awake. And it's like that stepping through the waterfall. And so it's really a small geographical step, I suppose. But in reality, it's quite big in terms of what you might need to let go of, or people you might need to let go of, or things that you were taught when you were younger, or stuff you learned at university that no longer applies, or, you know, whatever it is. It can be quite big. Well, often is quite big. Quite a big step, but, you know, it's a small flicker of frequency, really. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of this, energetic upgrades. I got a massive, ear ringing download last night, actually, as I was meditating before I went to sleep. Yeah, it was really interesting. Yeah, so expect more of that. Expect more, they're saying information in your dreams. Expect that, they've been talking for a long time about how the meditation, and I'm going to talk about this in the January newsletter, which I'll write in the next day or two and put up on my email out to my mailing list and put it up on the social media blog things. But the meditation frequency's changed again. So just being aware that it's going to continually change again, like that radio station in your car. If you're driving a distance and you want to keep listening to the same radio station, you've got to keep retuning your dial. So just be aware that that's going to keep happening, and they're saying it's going to keep happening in a bigger and more profound way and more frequently, I feel, as well. So be aware of that. The other thing that I got encouraged to do just a couple of days ago, so I'm recording this on the 3rd or 4th, maybe it's the 4th of January. Yeah, so just a couple of days ago, and again I'm going to write about this in the newsletter in a bit more detail, but I was sort of encouraged, when you do your meditation and you sort of expand your awareness out to the edge of your macabre, which, the sort of conventional thinking is like 4 meters diameter, 4 meters diameter. Yeah, like a 8 meters diameter, so 4 meters in any direction, big bubble or circle or cloud or whatever. Anyway, a couple of days ago, I was encouraged in my meditation to make it really big, like really big. I've been learning about this new sort of healing frequency technology, and they were saying that they've measured the effect of this new healing frequency technology thing, and that it goes, its range is 2 miles, which is, I looked it up, 3.12 or 3.21 kilometres. Anyway, that sort of popped into my mind when I was doing the opening part of my meditation, expanding my awareness out to this, 4 metre radius, 8 metre diameter bubble of mine, and I just made it really big, like really big. So why not make this 2 miles or 3 kilometres or whatever? So I did. Why not? And that felt really good. And so I've kind of been doing, actually this morning it was as big as the house, So anyway, I've been playing with that, and I feel like that's a thing, that's some information to pass on to everybody. That part of this sort of awakening upgrade energy that we're stepping into, particularly this year being a 7-year, is they're showing me like almost like the Tower card, like breaking down of the old. Actually, what I'm seeing is the Berlin Wall coming down. So breaking down of these old walls, these old beliefs, these old systems, these old patterns, these old everything. Ah, see, interesting. When I drew this card from the Work Your Light Oracle deck, I nearly, they sort of pointed out the card that was underneath it, which I don't normally look at. And anyway, it says break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing and rewriting the future. So they're just highlighting this card. And it's funny, when I didn't put it back in the deck, I sort of left it sitting on top. And I sort of half felt that it might be important. Okay, so now we have 5 cards. They're laughing, going, it's okay to be greedy. It's okay. It's like, be greedy spiritually. Soak up as much as you can. That's quite funny. But yeah, like breaking of the old. And so anyway, one of the things that they're saying right now is it's okay to break the old information of, your macabre is 4 meters or 8 meters diameter. It's actually bigger than that. It can be bigger than that. So the invitation here is a bit like, if you go to the gym or whatever, or start doing yoga or start swimming or walking and you haven't done much exercise for a while, or that particular form of exercise, so it's different muscle groups that you're working. You don't go too hard, too fast. Like you can build this up. So don't go from no meditation to a 2 mile radius. Well, you don't have to. Maybe you can try it and see what happens. But anyway, there's an invitation here that, this in itself can be a gradual process of sort of stretching and stretching and stretching, and allowing and allowing and allowing your own energy field to be as big as it wants, as big as you want it to be. And the thing that they're sort of bringing in here as the last bit of information about this card is in that sort of healing system energy thing interviews I was listening to the other day, and they were talking about how this system has been measured to be 2 miles. They were Americans, but they talked in miles, or North American, from the USA. Yeah, and they were like, oh, isn't that wonderful? That's how to heal a community, like have a system of healing that actually expands beyond the bounds of the room that you're sitting in getting the healing or whatever. It can extend beyond that. And so they're likening this, if everyone expands their macabre to be as big as your house or as big as your neighbourhood, you know, because they were like, oh, what a great way to heal the world and you know, heal your neighbourhood or whatever. So it feels very much like that, like a celebration of the expansion of the healing is what they're saying. And again, they're showing me the they said something about dimmer switches in that first channel and connecting to that sort of divine matrix grid of energy. And I'm seeing a particular image which I might insert into this video so I can show you directly, of the earth sort of lit up, quite beautiful. So this is another way to sort of tap in and expand that network of light is what they're saying. Yeah, that's nice. And if more of us do that, then, you know, soon the whole world is lit up. Yeah, nice. And it's like the more the world's lit up, the less sort of like personally brave you're going to have to be, because you know, integrity and honesty and openness to love is more normal, will become more normal, rather than being the odd one out, you know, trying to uphold it in a family structure or a business structure or a neighbourhood structure that doesn't necessarily support you at the moment. As the light increases for everybody, the ease of moving forward and into this awakening energy will get easier for everyone. That's a nice reminder. I feel like I want to go, oh, phew, that's good. Okay, last card. I drew this and I was like, yes, of course. So this is from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, Colette, Baron-Reid and Jenna Della Grottalia. Every time, sorry, Jenna. I don't know her, but, you know, I feel bad that I'm potentially mispronouncing her name. Peacock Spirit, let it shine. That's a beautiful picture of, I just noticed the heart. This is a new deck, so I haven't looked closely at any of the cards, really. It's a lovely image of a peacock, and it's got a crown on its head, and it's also got a beautiful glowing golden heart, which I've only just noticed. Yeah, it's lovely. Peacock Spirit, let it shine. Yeah, it's kind of obvious what this one means, I think. Yeah, and again, they're showing me the run of the cards. So it's like opening, be brave and step into your integrity and your honesty and openness to love, more support and romantic love in particular. And then that in itself leads to a higher level of awakening and openness to spirit and awareness of all of that extra support and new ways of being. In order to do that, we break the chains, we change the rules, and through all of that journey, we get to shine. I've got a lovely In Excess song in my head called, I think it's called Shine Like It Does. That's popping into my mind. I'm reading the In Excess biography at the moment, so I've got lots of, and I used to be a massive fan when I was younger. I mean, I still like their music, but you know. Yeah, so I'm getting lots of In Excess references as well, so that's quite cool. Okay, Peacock. Oh, and they're also reminding me that well, not reminding me because I knew it straight away, reminding me to tell you that my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, my mum's mum, had a farm and they had peacocks. And so half my childhood used to go down there quite a lot. So I spent half my childhood growing up around peacocks. And every single one of us, like, you know, me, my mum, my dad's passed on, but my sisters, my cousins, my aunts and uncles, everybody had peacock feathers in the house. I know some cultures think it's bad luck, but in my family it was just like Percy the peacock's tail feathers. So, you know, put them in a vase or have them, look, there's some right here, like literally right here on the bookcase, which is quite funny. But yeah, everybody has peacock feathers in their houses. So everyone's kind of surrounded by, doesn't show up that well on the camera, but yeah, they're everywhere. So for me, and they're saying to share this with you, there's a connection here to the ancestors. Oh, here. And they're pointing out the words in this second last card where it says ancestral patterns. That's interesting. So yeah, there's an invitation here to not only kind of be aware of the support from, they're going like the support from beyond. That's really funny. So, you know, like the divine, you know, spiritual helpers and guides and ascended masters and angelics and all of that mob. But also your own personal direct lineage of ancestral energy is here supporting you as well. It's like everybody's got your back. Everybody's got your back. And the more that you lean into that support, they're showing me, you know, like trust leans or trust falls or, you know, even stage diving or whatever, where, you know, you're relying on others to catch you. Yeah, they're like, of course we're going to catch you. And it's not about falling, you know, it's about leaning into support in order to kind of help move you forward. It's like, you know, when you're walking along with a loved one or a friend or whatever, and they just, you know, they have or put their hand on your back. You know, that sort of nice, comforting kind of feeling. And it's that. It's like, we have your back. And it's not a quick, you know, get out there or whatever. It's like, it's a more gentle encouragement. That they're saying it's constant, it's consistent, and it's unending and unerring. That's lovely. That's lovely. Yeah, an infinite supply of support. And once you kind of, again, they're showing me that sort of tapping into that, you know, plugging into that matrixy energy they were talking about at the beginning, and the more you plug into that for yourself and have this more solid core of like daily meditation and strengthen your meditation muscles and whatever, the more resilient you are. And the more resilient you are and the more peaceful you are and the more safe you feel, the more you can shine. And the more you can shine, the more you light up the world for yourself and everybody else. And so this awakening process happens even more smoothly, even more gently, even more grandly, and even more quickly than it would without you, without your salt or your fresh herbs or your flavour, you know. So you're important, is what they're saying. You're important in this mix of energies that's happening at the moment. Yeah, just because they're grand, like 26,000 year cycles, and you've only been around for 20 or 40, 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 years in a 26,000 year cycle, it doesn't mean you're not important. It means that you're very important. Yeah. Be brave and shine. And I'm hearing that sort of let your freak flag fly. You know that saying? Like, let your uniqueness out. Don't be shy. Be brave. Because that's what people respond to, you know. Is you being you. Not you being like everybody else. You being you. You don't all have to dress up like a peacock and wear a crown on your head, but you just being you, being centered and proud of yourself. Proud like a peacock. Be proud of yourself. Oh, that's a really nice feeling. And it's not an ego, you know, I'm better than everyone. It's that beautiful deep level of inherent understanding of your own worth. That's what pride is. That's lovely. So yeah, be brave. Be brave and shine. They're showing you the first card and the last card. Be brave and shine. That's a lovely note to finish on. Thank you. Yay. That's lovely. Okay, go well, my friends. Thank you. If you've been watching this, make sure that you, because I feel like there's been a big kind of downloady energy that's come with this one in particular. So yeah, just make sure that you drink a bit of extra water, have a bit of extra salt because it's grounding, eat a, you know, bit of extra protein for lunch or dinner or breakfast, whenever you're watching this. So, you know, eggs or beans or meat or, you know, whatever protein that you eat. Yeah, a bit of extra protein, a bit of extra salt, a bit of extra water in particular, water in particular, to help kind of integrate and assimilate. They're saying integrate and assimilate this energy, particularly for today. But thank you, appreciate you. Like the video if you've liked it, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, tune into the newsletter, should be out by the end of the week, and got merch on the merch sites. There's more coming too. I'm in the process of designing some sort of exciting new stuff, which I'll let you know about when I'm ready. Yeah, but have fun, enjoy the summer energy if you're in the southern hemisphere, and the winter if you're in the northern hemisphere. Look after yourself, take care of each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Much love. Bye.